Hey guys, I have here a Galaxy S22 Ultra. The screen of this device is broken. The glass is broken, but the screen is still good. Also, the body of this device has a lot of heavy scratches, so we are going to replace the body also. I'm going to start by hitting the back of the device with my heat gun, and it will take about 30 seconds to 1 minute. After the initial hitting of the back of the device, I grabbed my suction cup and started to pull on the suction cup in order to have the back of the device open a little bit. As you can see, the back of the device was heated to the correct temperature. We have a small opening where we can start to insert our tool in. I then grabbed my guitar pick and started to insert it inside. So this was not planned, the back of the device is cracked. I think I went too fast. The double-sided tape at the center of the bottom of the device was to the correct temperature, but at the corners they were not. I have multiple videos where I removed the back of this device and it never cracked. So you can check those videos for the correct instructions on how to remove the back safely. After all the screws have been removed out of the device, we need to remove the wireless charging coil which is connected to the speaker module. It is connected by double-sided tape and it can be removed very easily. The wireless charging coil is free to be removed after disconnecting those flex cables. So very important, before we do anything else, we need to disconnect the battery cable. The battery cable should be disconnected with a plastic tool or by your hands, and then you can remove all other flex cables using your tool, either a metal tool or a plastic tool. The main flex cables removed, we can start removing the battery. So this time I decided to use alcohol to help me remove the battery. So I added a small portion of alcohol on top of the battery. The next step will be to push that alcohol on the sides of the battery, on the right and left, for it to start dripping inside the device and go soften the double-sided tape on the back of the battery. You only need a small portion of alcohol. So I then grabbed my suction cup and tried to pull on the battery. After a few minutes letting the alcohol do its work on the battery, as you can see, it is not working very well, and trying to pull with extreme force is not going to do anything other than damaging your battery. So I decided to grab my tool in order to start applying pressure directly at the bottom of the battery for it to start to get lifted up. The next logical step was to hit the screen of the device in order to remove the battery. This is my usual way to remove batteries and it works very well. With the alcohol in, I'm sure that the removal process of the battery is going to go faster than usual. The area where the battery was heated for at least 15 seconds. After the heating, I grabbed my tool and started to apply a small pressure at the bottom of the battery. As you can see, I'm not applying some extreme force on the battery because you do not need to apply a lot of strength to remove the battery. Under the right conditions, you just need to apply a little bit of force and the battery is going to start getting removed out of the frame of the device. So you may use a metal tool like I did in this video, but it is recommended to use a plastic tool to avoid puncturing the battery if your plastic tool is sharp or you made a mistake and punctured the battery. As you can see, the battery came out very easily and I can feel the alcohol on the back of the double-sided tip. So it did help me remove the battery faster. The battery removed, we can start removing all the other flex cables at the top of the device and the 5G antenna at the right of the device. After those have been removed, we can freely remove the motherboard of this device. Make sure that you double check all flex cables have been disconnected from the motherboard before you start to remove the motherboard. Also make sure that all flex cables that are inside the device are pushed aside while you try to lift the motherboard in order to remove it. After double checking all these, the motherboard can be removed easily. The motherboard removed, we have only a few things to remove out of the frame of this device in order to start the reassembly onto the new body of the device. In order to remove the charging module, you need to extract the SIM card tray, and after that you can pry out the charging module. After removing the charging module, we need to remove the front facing camera and the 5G antenna in order to move forward. Front facing camera is held by some double-sided tape, so we need to hit the area on the screen where we have the camera, and then we can start to pull on the camera just a little bit. Please do not pull with a lot of force. The front-facing camera flex cable is going to get damaged. You can apply a little bit of pressure with your tool on the side of the front-facing camera. It is a very solid area and it will not damage your camera. Front-facing camera is out. We can move on to the removal of the 5G antenna, and then after that we can remove the speakers. If your new body and screen come with any component, you do not have to transfer the old component onto the new body. They are going to work with your motherboard. Make sure you inspect your old screen against the new screen. Remove and install any component that you have on your old screen but not present on the new screen. This is the fingerprint sensor of this device. Too much alcohol while removing the battery, it might get damaged and damage your new screen or old screen. It is time to reassemble the device into the new screen and new body. Before reinstalling the motherboard, push aside any flex cables that are still inside the frame of the device, especially the flex cable of the S Pen. It gets in the way while trying to reinstall the motherboard every time on this device. When the motherboard is installed inside the device, push a little bit for it to be fully seated. Next, connect the S Pen flex cable and then connect the flex cable of the front facing camera. We can go next installing the charging module, and after that install the SIM card tray. The SIM card tray in, we can go next installing the battery of the device. Using the heat method will make the double-sided tape on the back of the battery usable again, and as you saw it is still very sticky. Next we can install the small plastic portion with the sensor at the top of the motherboard and connect the flex cable to the motherboard. The next step will be to connect all the main flex cables that are linking the motherboard to the charging module. So at this moment the device is ready and we can try to turn on the device and see if the new screen is good and we do not have any issues. So unfortunately the device was not turning on and there is something wrong that is happening and preventing the device from turning on. I decided to reinstall the wireless charging coil and see if it will make a difference, but it didn't work also. So I remembered that the buttons on the S22 Ultra are contacts. In order for the buttons to function, the motherboard should be in contact firmly with the contact pad for the buttons. So I pushed on the motherboard and tried to turn on the device once again. And as you can see, it is not working, so something must be wrong. I need to find what is wrong in order to start this device. The first thing that you need to do if you have this kind of issue is to check all flex cables. This is very important. You need to check every single flex cables to make sure that they are landed properly and fully in contact with the motherboard or the other portion where it is supposed to be connected. The other quickest thing that you can do is to plug a charging cable with a watt reader. As you can see, we have 25 to 23 watts going inside this device. So the S22 Ultra is getting charged. It is functioning normally, but something is wrong with the screen. So after this, I decided to turn on the device once again because it was charging normally. As you know it already, if you plug a charger inside a S22 Ultra or a S22 Plus, you're going to have the battery charging animation. Here we didn't have that, so something is wrong with the screen. Once again, we need to check the flex cables and make sure that they are all connected properly. I went ahead and started to check all flex cables to make sure they are all properly connected. After checking, I found out that one flex cable of the screen connecting the motherboard to the screen was not fully landed. It was halfway seated, and this is why the screen was not turning on. After turning on the device, make sure that you use it for a few minutes. Make sure that you have the proper response on the touch screen. The digitizer is working properly. Also go inside the camera app. Make sure that all your cameras are functioning properly and you do not have any issues with your cameras. After all the tests have been passed, the device is ready for the back glass installation. Make sure you install the wireless charging coil first, and then after you can start installing all the screws that you have removed out of this S22 Ultra. If you're going to install your old back glass, you need to apply some B7000 or T7000 on the place of the double-sided tape. You cannot reuse the old double-sided tape because it will not stick onto the body of the device for a long time. If you have purchased a new double-sided tape for your S22 Ultra, you need to remove the old double-sided tape out of the body of the device first, and then remove all the double-sided tape that are still on the back glass. After those have been removed, you we need to install the new double-sided tape on the back of the back glass, and then apply some pressure for it to stick firmly onto the back glass, and then remove the protecting film on the back glass. For your old back glass, make sure that you inspect the camera bezel and make sure that there is nothing inside that is going to obstruct your cameras after you install the back glass. For the new back glass, remove the protection on the camera bezel, and then we can start the installation of the new back glass. For the installation, we will start at the top of the device. Make sure that you align the body of the device with the back glass and start to apply a little bit of a pressure at the top for the back glass to start to stick. Once you have one end sticking to the device, you need to inspect the other end and make sure that everything is aligned perfectly, and start to apply some light pressure in order for the back glass to start to stick. You need to do this just in case you forgot to add something or you forgot to install something inside. It will be very easy to remove the back glass without damaging it or wasting the double-sided tape. Once everything is good, you can start to apply some firm pressure with your fingers. Once the back of the device is ready and you know that you've done a good job, you can start to apply a lot of fingerprint pressure. This is going to help your double-sided tape to stick firmly onto the body of the device, at least initially. The next step after applying some fingerprint pressure will be to apply some constant pressure. Applying constant pressure for at least 5 to 10 minutes is going to be good for the back glass to be very sticky and stay the longest onto the body of your device. The professional repair clamps or paper binding clamps that can apply constant pressure onto the body of your device is not mandatory, because you can complete this repair without those. It is recommended to have constant pressure clamps onto the body of the device in order to better seal the device. I will have the links to all the items that I use in this S22 Ultra restoration, and also if you want a clear glass on the back of your S22 Ultra, I have a complete tutorial on how to clean and clear the back glass that you have now into this clear back glass. If you're interested, click on the video on the screen now. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like and share, and see you next time.